government institutions, infrastructure development projects, industrial sector, agriculture sector, because we wanted to establish the linkage between security and development.
The Deputy Inspector General of Police, Major General Geoffrey Tumsime, is sure that the officers have sharpened their skills and believe that they will be better, most importantly, avoiding corruption tendencies.
Corruption, we are always getting that trophy at the end of the year. Number one, number two, number one, we are always around there. Can we avoid it totally with now the new crop of these senior officers coming out?
In his address to the graduates, Minister Tafire congratulated the directing and facilitating staff for producing the quality of their category, but cautioned them about the conduct while exercising their duty. He promised to get support from Uganda Police to overcome the challenges they face so as to be the agents of change.
I am aware of the problems facing the police. Shortage of manpower.
However, Minister Tafire directed the top chiefs in Uganda Police with immediate effect to start training officers with lower ranks and promote them as a way of fighting irregularities in the police.
Chief of Training, I want to see robust programs for the training and equipping of lower ranks.
First Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East African Affairs Rebecca Litwala Kadaga has dispelled fears that the DRC's entry into the East African community will jeopardize the regional security. Kadaga says that by joining the EAC, DRC will be party to numerous pacts of the community, including the East African Standby Force. Kadaga said this while updating journalists about the roadmap to be followed in the process of admitting the Democratic Republic of Congo into the East African Community Bloc.
Once they accede to the treaty, it will mean that they become party to the security pacts of which Uganda and other countries, the East African countries, we have a security pact in the East African community, and I expect that once they accede to the treaty, they become members and be able to cooperate together with the security agencies of this country. But also, as you already know, even this week, there are refugees coming in from Congo, that Bunagana. These are our relatives, these are our friends. So I think it will help us to work together to improve the security. Well, once we're officially working together, we've been doing it a bit informally, but once they join the treaty, it will be official. So it's good for us and good for them as well. To simply deploy ourselves into another country, we still need the consent of the government of that country to be able to deploy the standby force. So I think that, as I said, once they join, I think we shall now be more officially working together, and they can request for support from the standby force. All of us, all our countries are still sovereign. That's why we are looking at working on a confederation to see how much more we can collaborate. You know, independence and sovereignty are still very important to the people of this area. So it's an area which we need to go patiently and not use force. So as we move together, we shall be able to work together more officially.
Pay for your dream phone, Mpola. Get your dream phone today for as low as 1,400 Uganda shillings with free data for a year and pay slowly. All phones come with daily 50 MBs for 12 months. Repayment period is 1 year. Available at MTN service centers and M-Kopa shops.
Pastor Jackson Senyonga of Christian Life Church Kampala, accompanied by great anointed preachers including Apostle Alex Mitara, Pastor Nicholas Wafula, Pastor Peter Emiao, Pastor Peterson Sozi, and many more, together with all the pastors of born-again churches of Bunyoro region. That includes Kagadi, Masindi, Hoima. Call upon all God's people, born again or non-born again, to come and witness the power of God in your life. The first ever Bunyoro region-wide crusades. All districts gather together in one place at Kagadi Town Council next to National Water Services on the 5th, 6th and 7th April 2022 at 2 p.m.
Choose our with Airtel Money Quick Loans. Get a top-up loan when you have insufficient funds to buy airtime, pay utility bills, or make payments at a local supermarket. Complete your transaction and pay later. Dial *185*7*10# to opt in. Get an Airtel Money Quick Loan and pay later. Choose our with Airtel Money Quick Loans in partnership with Housing Finance Bank and powered by Yabex. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Government of Uganda, through the Uganda Bureau of Statistics (UBOS), is undertaking nationwide census mapping aimed at providing an up-to-date list of enumeration areas and administrative units in the country ahead of the National Population and Housing Census of 2023. The UBOS field teams will be using Global Positioning Systems (GPS) for mapping all administrative infrastructure, households and other facilities such as hotels, schools, hospitals and water sources to facilitate production of the updated LC1, parish, sub-county and district area maps showing all the physical features and social amenities. The census mapping will further aid development of a countrywide data for information systems as a pillar for effective implementation of the parish development model. This is to appeal to the entire government leadership, all stakeholders and the general public to support the field teams that will be deployed across the country. Announced by Dr. Chris Ndatira Muchiza, the Executive Director and Chief Statistician. For further clarifications, please contact the Office of the Executive Director on 0755 342 128.
When COVID came, it felt like it destroyed everything my mom had built. She was ready to let go of her dreams. But when one door shuts, a window opens. She grabbed her last command and took a leap of faith. She refused to give up. So with a bit of daring and Grandma's secret recipe, her business was back. And not just bigger, beyond her wildest imagination.
This is a story of a regular Ugandan just like you, who harnessed the power of technology to provide a solution for us. How about you tell us your story? UG needs more of you. To share your story, visit airtel.co.ug/UG needs more of you or call or SMS 162. Airtel, the smartphone network.
It's time to teach. Schools are open. In these days of COVID-19, teachers are not only giving knowledge, but protecting themselves and their students from the virus. As a teacher, you must ensure that students follow the set SOPs of always maintaining a distance of 2 meters from others in classrooms, dormitories, entertainment halls, school vans and playgrounds, wearing a washed and clean mask every day that covers their mouths and noses, and regularly washing their hands with soap and water. In addition to that, you must counsel students about stigma related to COVID-19 and discourage them from violence. Any violence against students from classmates, teachers or parents should be reported immediately to a school administrator or senior woman or man teacher for correction and further guidance. Ensuring everyone's safety is key, so make sure students are out of class by the official closing time. Let's share knowledge, not COVID-19. This message is supported by the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education and Sports, and UNICEF. Stay safe.
Thank you so much for watching and welcome back from the break. It's UBC News Tonight. Members of Parliament from Karamoja and neighboring districts have decried the worsening insecurity situation in their region and its neighboring districts. They claim over 3,000 people have been killed Since 2019, and over 200,000 cattle have been stolen. The legislators now want government urgently to deploy security in all the districts of Karamoja and the neighboring area to contain the situation. Philip Aguta has the details.
Members of Parliament from Karamoja, Teso, Lango, Bugisu and Acholi sub-regions have blamed the government and its security agencies for taking long to bring an end to the insecurity in Karamoja sub-region. They claim over 3,000 people have been killed since 2019 and over 200,000 cattle stolen.
We are wondering, we know that the mandate of the security agencies is to preserve, defend and protect the lives of the people of Uganda and their property. Like they would do so anywhere in our borders. Whereas we feel that this is not the case, as is always wanting in that region, that northern part of Karamoja and the northern part of Uganda. Many agencies paint a picture of success, when in actual fact, they need to stop and question about the wanton violence and full-scale return of armed conflict. That's being experienced, they said successes as shown by our security agencies. In the words of Honorable Kulaije, that the situation is calm. The monthly average of major rustling events has risen enough. On average, in every district, the minimum is about 11 to 14. The Honorable Norman Ochero was putting on our WhatsApp that yesterday he experienced 11 raids.
They also claim that the current ongoing raids are being fueled by businessmen and some elements of security men.
Let me be told that one of the participants in the loss of cows in Karamoja are businessmen. It's no longer a raid that is amassing cows. I like the new vision. He wrote something very incisive. Our own security forces are arrested. If one of you doubts, go and find how many soldiers are arrested in Moroto for transport and stealing cows. Captains, majors. Even the source of bullets must be investigated. They weren't killing other people. Yeah. The bullets, when you get the cartridges, they are from Nakasongola. They are not from Kenya. We believe that there has been a conspiracy to undermine household development and household asset development in that region. Because how do you first of all remove LDUs?
They now want government to deploy in large numbers and bring an end to the cattle raiding. They also appeal to government to compensate those that have lost their cattle and provide food aid to the affected people.
The number of households in Karamoja, about 70% now, are aided by women. Their husbands don't exist. And you can see exactly the impact of this insecurity to the region. You've seen our streets bursting with numbers of beggars. That is just something to show you that the situation is really bad. We didn't have to wait for the geologists to be killed or to wait for our neighbors to suffer to realize that Karamoja needed to be rescued. It is very unfortunate. I am not happy at all.
The shocking news is that when you go to the detachers in the neighboring districts, such as if it is in Katakwin or Kulonjo, you find a detachment has only 3 UPDF soldiers. So all of us are wondering, where are the soldiers that we thought we have in this country? If we cannot have the internal peace within Uganda, where the citizens are, then we can't pride in securing the external borders. It's very painful.
Karamoja has been peaceful for about 20 years after the government collected guns in the hands of warriors in early 2000. It's around 2019, during the COVID lockdown, that the cattle raiding resurfaced. Philip Aguta, UBC News, in Parliament.
When they thought cattle rustling had gone with the successful disarmament of the Karamojong, the situation seemed to have been a commercial break. The warriors are reportedly back this time with not only guns but also bows and arrows ready to injure, kill and also steal cattle. The people residing in and around Karamoja are living in fear, calling for serious measures to overcome the insecurity. Henry Okurut has just returned from Teso and Karamoja sub-regions and filed this report.
The disarmament process of Karamoja in the early 2000s may have gone on successfully.
They would come and attack even a government unit and displace it and raid cows.
But the locality's nightmare is back.
What they do now is they sneak into a village and steal 2-3 cows. If they get you defenseless, they can harm you.
And this time, it has graduated from mere stealing of cattle for prestige to rustling for commercial purposes.
And the recent one was in Adim, where some people who had lost their cows identified their cows and they are at police.
Unfortunately, this has come with costs on both human and animal lives. Those that are unlucky have died.
The security force at the border is inadequate. For the last 10 years, I know we have never ever had a problem of insecurity.
13-year-old Esther Ilaret is just one of those people that State Minister for Economic Monitoring Peter Ogwang was talking about. She may look normal and smart in this attire, but once this top is undressed, the evidence of injuries inflicted by cattle thieves is written all over her. A pupil of Ngariam Primary School in Katakwi District, Ilaret not only feels embarrassed, but is also in too much pain to resume classes. It is a situation that happened in Palam sub-county, where she lived with her other 3 siblings. Her father, Julius Ating, clearly recalls what transpired that night.
So Kerengo, Obonde di Karamoja ngao dua petundu wakai. Ichumeti kokukada abo epeyele.
This kind of fear is not just confined here. A number of kilometers away, to Kaikamosin village in Ngariam sub-county, we find 46-year-old Betty Akol, a mother of 8. Soaked in thoughts, not even the use of chains other than ropes saved her from losing 3 cows to warriors.
Akwapo na mamara na kosi ware. Para ni rarse tunga luongariam. Konyi ware akwapo na arai na ilok. Arai sa chono ta iboya kware kia. Ya buchara jotori bonada ta ituka nyoun.
Married to John Michael Okwi, Akol is living in fear with her entire family.
Papa na ikiar na lelu sa igwa pa itukara ikiar ni kanya pe bon. Do dare du muti loki pu ai kwai na yi.
The situation has forced some children out of school. Here at Achanga Primary School, still in Ngariam sub-county, we found 5 victims. One of them is a pupil of this school, only identified as Opwono. He is yet to resume classes due to the injuries he sustained.
I'm worried of the Karamojong warriors who come and raid cattle, they raid goats, and even sometimes break into houses to steal food.
This is the state of affairs in Katakwi District that has given both local and national leaders sleepless nights.
We have so far lost so many animals, more than 1,000, ever since I started ruling. That was May 2021.
To handle this situation as immediately as possible, we could be able to give the veterans and the people in the border, at least we call them home guards, and they can be able to help with the situation. Otherwise, we sometimes get deployments, but you are given 3 soldiers in this area, tomorrow they pass in the other sub-county. For me, all the 7 sub-counties in the border are affected.
But whatever it is that is not being done right, there is hope that the security threats in Karamoja sub-region will be history. This is because the head of state is aware of the situation.
The lorries don't go through the bush. They go along the roads. And the roads in Karamoja are very level. So why not have roadblocks? And all any road carrying the cows, you find out where it is going and where it is coming from. What is the problem then?
For now, the status quo remains fragile until that time when government will act and residents will feel secure and free from cattle rustlers. Henry Okrut, UBC.
African leaders have distanced themselves from a possibility of getting involved in the war between Russia and Ukraine. They say Africa has more problems to deal with than be part of the ongoing unrest between the European nations. This was during the World Government Summit held at Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. Prime Minister Robin Nabanja is representing Uganda to discuss means of helping nations overcome the existing challenges.
The panel of three, comprised of Tanzanian Vice President Philip Mpango, Uganda's Prime Minister Robin Nabanja, and Mohamed Bovoj, the Prime Minister of Guinea. In a discussion moderated by CNN's Ellen Giokos, the deliberations centered on the strategies and dynamics on the rise of Africa.
We want the world to give a chance to diplomacy.
Okay.
I think that's key.
We think we have more problems.
They responded to issues on how African countries can tap into the opportunities provided. Nabanja particularly said that the right path is now in promoting tourism and agro-processing.
We already have smallhold farmers who are already organized at household level, and that is going to now increase production. For us, what we need now is investment.
On the sidelines of the World Government Summit, Nabanja met more other investors. These included the Minister for Tourism from the United Arab Emirates, who discussed how best they can promote investments in Africa.
Uganda is ready for investment. Already when we came here, we are in touch with one of the biggest companies here, the Erit Agro Company, which is signing an MOU with my country.
We are talking about Emirates cities where investments can come from here to Uganda.
As you know, there has been a double taxation agreement that was signed a couple of years ago, which I think is foundation for any bilateral trade. We're very excited about this year. I think 2022 will be a year of recovery.
Nabanja also visited Uganda's pavilion at the Dubai Expo and assured Ugandans that the government knows the plight they are working in.
Thank you, sir.
The board of the National Planning Board has finally been constituted after all the 10 members taking oath of service. The oaths were administered by the Deputy Chief Justice of Uganda, Richard Butera, at an event held at the High Court in Kampala. Members can now substantively execute their mandate.
Physical Planning Act 2010, it is now 2020, provides for establishment of the National Physical Planning Board. Section 6 of the board of the Act provides for the mandate of the board. This mandate includes advising government on policies and standards related to the physical planning. The board guides local governments on matters of coordination and integration of physical development.
It's exciting, but it's also a challenge because we obviously have a lot to do. If you look around our city, our capital, if you look around the country, you see developments are happening rapidly, but they are not as regulated as they should be. So for the whole country, that's a lot of work for us. I expect hard work, commitment. I expect them and myself to serve in the public interest and not to be driven by individualism. I expect them to work in accordance with the law, and I expect us to have the desired integrity, because the nature of work, physical planning, is quite heavy. So if we don't have the integrity that we need, we shall not achieve. And I think we should work in a coordinated way with the other stakeholders. For example, we deal with the environment issues as well. We should work with NEMA. We deal with enforcement issues. We should work with Uganda Police Forces. We deal with the buildings where they are located. We should work with the National Building Review Board.
Oath by the substantive chair now, because we had an acting chair, of course gives the board a very big milestone now, because now we shall be able to execute our mandate without fear or favor. And we all know that physical planning takes place in the local governments. So me, as the representative of the Ministry of Local Government, that is where we are going to exert a lot of our energies.
The fight to end environmental degradation continues. In the southwestern part of Uganda is River Rizi that at some point was getting silted due to unregulated depositions. Our reporter follows up practices to restore the famous river.
It is not a mystery that the famous river in the southwestern part of the country is regaining its waters. Reports of River Rizi being degraded were circulating all over, calling for intervention from both government and the private sector.
So now in that area we made sure that 2.5 hectares of that area that the farmers got out from, we planted improved Napier grass for the cows.
Multiple factors including the recent rains, change of mindset of locals and the proper use of wetland, the river catchment areas have been put in place and the results are all over to see. To the locals who depend on the river as an income generating venture, they've been oriented, given startup capital and can easily sustain themselves.
Members of the community were using the church land, and even they encroached the wetland which bordered with the river. For that matter, the river was not in good condition and the wetland was distorted.
River Rizi, with an 8,200 kilometer stretch through the districts of Mbara, Buhweju and Rampara, continue to be restored. Now Bures through its parent company AB InBev have donated 2 billion shillings to conserve the river.
Fundamentally believe in ensuring that water across the world is sustainably used, not just for our business but for the communities as well. And we believe that our targets by 2025, most of the water stressed communities should be water safe.
The funding is meant to boost the quality and quantity of the waters and support the ecosystem functioning and the socio-economic development by 2024. The project is being implemented by Worldwide Fund for Nature Uganda office in partnership with the Ministry of Water and Environment.
Provide alternatives. That's why we have a huge component in livelihoods. You know, they have got livestock given to them. They have a revolving on that livestock. Now they have even businesses. If you go down there, they will tell you the type of businesses some of them have established. Others have even moved away from this community and now operating from Mbarara.
Approximately 2.5 million people are benefiting from the services of the river, a reason for its conservation.
We thank you so much for watching, and this story brings us to this point where we'll take a very short break. Do not miss what we have on return. Please keep it with us.
Today in history.
On 31st March 1893, the Imperial British East African Company, IBECO, left Uganda for England, and this farewell was hosted at Old Kampala Hill. Before, in July 1891, the directors of the company had written to the British government informing them of their mission to withdraw from Uganda. However, the British administrators of the company left 2 days later.
Need to send money to a loved one but you don't have enough on your phone? Have you run out of fuel but you don't have enough money? Do you want to pay for yaka or water but have insufficient funds? Or do you want to shop but you don't have enough money? Don't worry, get away with MTN Momo Advance. Momo Advance tops up your Momo to complete your transactions. Dial *165*5*3# to apply. MTN Momo Advance is always available when you need it.
Where does it come from? That thing that makes us Ugandan. That thing that makes us different from everybody else. Where does it grow infinitely? Some say it's in our history, in our culture, and in our hearts, in our warm smiles and vast miles of coffee, dairy farmland, and amazing maize fields. It's in our inherent pursuit to always be better, to never stop growing and glowing. So you see, we are more than just a waving flag. We are a nation of sweat and skills, a nation of ideas and inventions. But what truly makes us Ugandan is our quest to improve the quality of life for Ugandans by creating sustainable jobs, businesses, and improving household incomes. That's what makes us Uganda Development Bank.
Uganda Development Bank, inspiring development.
Get connected today with the My Airtel 4G smartphone and enjoy free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 Uganda shillings. That's free 2 GB for the first month and free 1 GB for the next 11 months at only 250,000 Uganda shillings with free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 shillings only. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Thank you for keeping it with us and welcome to UBC Business News tonight. Banking institutions are now focusing on developing those sectors of the economy that are regarded as transformative, like the agriculture sector and manufacturing. The Chief Executive Officer, DFCU Bank, Matthias Katamba, emphasizes that supporting such sectors will help the economy recover quickly from the impacts of COVID-19.
And being impactful in the community. And we've been increasing our investment in agriculture and being able to support agriculture type-led businesses, not only with funding through loans, but also through the Regulatory Development Center in DFCU Limited, where we provide additional technical support to farmer-based organizations, etc. And manufacturing, of course, is also transformative because it's about value addition, and a large section of manufacturing also takes care of adding value to agriculture.
Uganda's agro-industrialization continues to be tested by an influx of imports, in particular food and beverages, against sufficient uptake of farm products from domestic producers. The Soroti Fruit Factory, a flagship enterprise, and the state-owned Uganda Development Corporation is experiencing difficulty in uptake of mango and orange fruits produced by farmers, which is far beyond the processor's installed capacity of 120 tons. Dr. Patrick Birungi, the Executive Director of the Uganda Development Corporation, says in enhancing the business case for Soroti Fruit Factory, ongoing expansion of the plant and the rapid completion of the Yumbe and Noya processing factories will now consume additional 20 tons from farmers per season.
Upon its revival 5 years ago, the Uganda Development Corporation, UDC, as an investment vehicle for government, was meant to ensure agro-industrialization is stimulated. However, its primary commercial entity being the Soroti Fruit Factory, which is now experiencing larger supply of oranges and mangoes from farmers than can be processed.
The biggest challenge we've had is that the capacity of the equipment given is very small compared to the output in that area. So we can consume a maximum of maybe 5 to 10% of fruits produced during a good fruiting season.
In driving the public-private partnership agenda, as envisaged under the revived Uganda Development Corporation, the Private Sector Foundation says joint ventures with state-owned enterprises could remove the chains to smooth business.
We are in a race for development with other nations. This UDC is one hell of an ammunition that we can use for our country. So, but we need to oil the ammunition. We need to make sure that things don't take time.
UDC is operating Soroti Fruit Factory, which installed capacity is under 100 metric tons of daily production and is currently constrained with very limited uptake of supplies from thousands of citrus farmers.
Thank government and Operation Wealth Creation helped farmers, fruit farmers, to supply improved seedlings, and those improved seedlings were depending on the recommendation of NADS.
Individual citrus farmers are urging government to enhance effective support with key farm inputs, including improved seedlings, sprayers, mini irrigation systems, and packaging materials.
You see now how it is looking because of the weather. So if that opportunity can be there, the farm would produce enough fruit. Because here, when it's, the season is good, the fruits are really nice.
President Yoweri Museveni has repeatedly advocated for high-value crops, including citrus farming, arguing that it improves on household incomes for farmers but also supports value addition.
If you plant the oranges and you look after them well, by the 10th year, you will be getting 24 million from 1 acre. From 1 acre. So that's why the NRM recommended that for the 4 acres model, number one, coffee, if you are in an area which can grow coffee. Number two, fruits.
Uganda's population is over 70% comprised of the young people, less than 35 years. Most of these young people are desirous of leadership. And innovative abilities so that they can contribute to national development. It is for this reason that Stanbic Bank Uganda is extending financial support to the preparation of young leaders and innovators by Leo Africa Institute to become self-starters through focused training.
And they all have needs and they all have concerns of what they want to do in terms of creating.
Stanbic Bank has extended financial support to Leo Africa Institute to facilitate the empowerment of youth leaders and innovators with sustainable skills. The head sustainability program at Stanbic Bank, Catherine Atengo, says they believe supporting the youth to become problem solvers will bolster youth esteem.
These young leaders who are going to shape the future, like you said, they will influence through their peers. They will create new ideas. They will be better innovators. There will be people solving problems for their own spaces.
Atengo was handing over a donation of 70 million to the Chief Executive Officer, Leo Africa Institute, Huwel Wihangane at Umoja House, Kampala.
Uganda is one of the youngest nations in the world. 77% of the people are below 25. We can't continue to ignore the fact that young people need as much help as possible.
People who govern our societies, people who run the big businesses and the private sector, if they're not well wired, if they're not well mentored in terms of values and principles, then you end up with a society that is not fair, that is not equitable, that is not well balanced.
The event was witnessed by a renowned Kampala lawyer, David Mpanga, and a senior manager at Stanbic Bank, Sam Mwogeza, among others.
We'd like to thank you, Stanbic, for living your motto, it can be, because this is what Leo Africa Institute stands for. We think a successful, sustainable, great Africa is possible, one leader at a time. It can be. So Stanbic, we agree with you.
Partnership with Leo Institute is very important for us as a bank. And I think, as Kathy mentioned, it's been 5 years. And I believe we were one of the early partners on the journey. And everything for us starts with purpose.
The financial boost is expected to support the training of young and emerging leaders from selected African countries, mainly Ugandans. Uganda-based Leo Africa Institute has for the last 10 years imparted leadership, management and business skills to several youth from Africa and beyond.
That's looking at building their capacity to lead effectively, but also to lead, on the basis of values and integrity.
Lydia Chomkama, UBC News.
Over the last 10
Uganda Woodball Federation has offered equipment to Karamoja Games, whose 2022 edition is scheduled for April in Nakapiripit. The Karamoja Games is a non-government organization tasked to organize sports events among the 9 Karamoja region districts.
The 2022 edition of the Karamoja Games is likely to be improved. This after the Games organizers getting an equipment boost from Uganda Woodball Federation.
Federation has come up to support. Where are we coming in? We want to say that Karamoja, instead of having the guns, instead of using the guns all the time to think about fighting, let them put their interest in playing games so that they can also develop that heart of being together and working together as a team than fighting each other.
The boost, valued at 7.2 million shillings, is of woodball equipment including mallets, balls and gates, with each of the 9 Karamoja region districts to get 2 sets. The Federation will also use this opportunity to grow the sport further through technical assistance.
Before they start, we as the Federation, we are going to send the technical people, and we think we are going to first have a workshop in the Karamoja, with the Karamoja people, to give them the touch of woodball. Though they have it, but we have to take them through. So we are planning to have capacity building prior 2 days to the start of the games.
Karamoja Games chairperson Richard Okot is optimistic the youth of Karamoja region will benefit from these games health-wise and financially in the future.
And the main objectives is unity and talent in Karamoja. The idea of unity is to ensure these 9 districts come together for sports. And when they come together for unity, we do a talent search. And when you want to ensure that we get the best athletes from Karamoja.
This 3rd edition of the Karamoja Games will be hosted in Nakapiripiri district. All the regional districts including Kabong, Moroto, Kotido, Abim, Nabilatuk, Karenga, Amudat and Napak have confirmed participation. There will be 5 disciplines: athletics, netball, volleyball and football. John Barnes, Sentamu, reporting.
Thank you so much, John Barnes, Sentamu, and that is all we had for you at this particular moment. For now, we'll take you to Muyenga, at the home of the former Speaker of Parliament, the late Jacob Olanya's home, at his home in Muyenga, where members of the NRM caucus are holding a memorial service and paying tribute to him. Let's have our weather forecast, then to Muyenga.
It's time for everything. We must thank God, because for him he knows the time will come, the period he will stay, and when to leave. So we must be happy and we must appreciate. I want to thank the family and the